What's going on, people? I am Swavor, and this is Opinionated Facts Media Group Podcast, the podcast for breaking news and current event analysis, but we also talk about other things. As we would talk about relationships and stuff related to relationships today, I am joined by Illuminated Lenses, Coco Love, and Journey to Be Great. And without further ado, let's just get right into it. So what do you have for us today, Cece?
Today I am talking about dating a married man. So this is a no for me. But the reason I thought about this topic, due to a recent situation at the job that I'm currently at. There's a gentleman there that's interested in me. However, due to his position, he hasn't came out straightforward and told me that he interested in me and want to get to know me better. He's kind of been like sending messages through a friend of his that I'm cool with. So the guy was just kind of telling me about him and just saying he really likes me and wanted to know my opinion. And I told him, he's cool, he's okay, but he's married. So I was like, well, that's off the table anyway. I was like, I don't want a married man. And so he was like, well, no, hear me out. He's married, but him and his wife, they're having problems. They're separated and blah blah blah. I was like, well, I hope he gets that worked out, but he's married. I'm not interested. Sounds like drama. So, but and then I found out, they're not separated. That's a whole nother thing.
Okay.
Right.
But it brought me to this question, like, okay, is it okay to date someone that's married but separated? And is there like a time frame of the separation? And if they're in the guy is in a separate home, the wife is in a separate home, they just haven't did the divorce. Like, is there a certain time where that's okay? I mean, I know it's based upon your own preference, but like I said, for me, if I want to be in a serious relationship and you're just coming from a divorce, that tells me you're probably not ready to get into anything serious right away. For me. But I just want to know y'all opinion. Like, is there a time frame of a separation where it's okay to try to pursue a relationship with someone who's still married? Or do you just wait till they get that finalized? Or what do y'all think about it?
Well, I guess I'll go first, man. Hey, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. That's a hard question to answer because I mean, if he's in the process of going through the divorce, then that's different. But if there has not been any like concrete, like, hey, everything should be finalized at this date, whatever that time is, I probably wouldn't get too involved with that because it's just too much in the air for me.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it depends on the situation that you're comfortable with. Because, like, if you go into it, number one, knowing that, it could be messy, then if you're okay with that, then I guess. But, and I mean, it might be a situation where they're separated and they completely understand that, they're moving towards a divorce, whatever. You really just don't know. Personally, I would steer clear from that. Like, I don't want nothing to do with that whatsoever. But I know somebody out here that'll do it.
A lot of people, yeah.
So, but I think it just depends because I mean they could have an understanding, you know what I'm saying, like that they're separated, yes, and they are in the process of getting a divorce, and it might be understood completely that I'm gonna do me, you do you over there, whatever. But rarely is that the case. So yeah, it could probably get messy.
I think that it's a no. I think I agree with Coco. It's better to just stay on the side of caution because dealing with somebody who's already just got out of a relationship is already tricky. When you factor in that they were married and everything, a lot of times there's that other person is still trying to dip in a little bit and still trying to, they might be still trying to, you know what I mean? Still trying to, get a little water. You still get a little thirsty and stuff, So, and then it just, in general, it just, it's just, I feel like that.
Headache.
Yeah. It's too many problems. Like, I feel like that if you wait until the whole situation is done and they still want to pursue you, then I mean, That shows they really wanted it. I mean, you got to make sure before you jump into a relationship, you got to make sure you're good, all your ducks in order and everything like that. So you can't be having this low hanging fruit of, hey, so technically I'm still married. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I'm with that 100%. I like how you put that at the end. Kind of makes me think about what you were going to talk about today.
Yeah. So my topic actually is about dating, but I want to speak about it from the the male perspective. It seems like now, and at least from my perspective, it seems like now it's harder to date more than ever. And I say that because it seems like even if you're not dating somebody or you're trying to get to know the other person or the lady or whatever, it seems like you have to the consensus is that you have to spend a hell of money on them. And now I don't mind spending money on you if I'm interested in you. It's something that I want, that I'm pursuing. I don't mind spending money on you. Money is materialistic. However, I just feel like that to a certain point, if I'm spending money on you, spending money on you, spending money on you, and then we're just in this same, situation, nothing's moving, we're not moving toward the relationship, or we're just still dating, and you know what I'm saying? It's not taking a step further. And I'm not talking about, oh well, I spend money on you, so I'm expecting sex or anything like that. It's not that.
Try to get high and heavy. Okay.
Yeah. I ain't expecting that. However, I just feel like if you look at it from this point of view, you're getting some kind of deal because you're not spending your own money. I'm spending money on you, and I'm spending money on you, and I'm giving you my time. So what am I getting out of the deal? I'm just getting your time, basically. I'm not getting anything else because you're not spending any of your money. I'm required as the male to spend my money. I'm serious. Like it's tough. Like I don't personally understand that. But what do y'all think? Am I tripping?
Well, you know what's messed up? You know what's messed up about that? Like, it's just so pushed that a man should do that. But I do agree with you. At some point, it's gonna have to be some exchange. I mean, you can say what you want to say, but she's gonna have to do some. Other than that, just stop spending. Just stop spending money. I mean, I'm just being real because I mean, it's the same thing with women. Imagine if the shoe was on the other foot, because they always talking about, oh, we wasted my time, blah 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 blah. But like you said, you the one taking the loss.
Ladies, I want to hear y'all perspective. What do y'all think?
They got to be careful with this one here. Hold on.
I mean, I am not opposed. It's I'm not gonna lie to you, it is tricky because it's, for me, in my dating experience or whatever, especially having dated throughout college or whatever, you do run across guys that want to spend time with you or whatever, but they don't want to do nothing for you or anything for you, if I'm being grammatically correct. And when I say anything for you, I mean they don't want to do anything. And like, they don't, it's not so much about, oh, take me out to eat, or oh, spend money on me, but it is a preview of how they'll operate in the relationship. For example, I was dating a guy or talking to a guy, however you want to, verbiage, whatever, getting to know a guy. And we had been on a few dates, this here and there, whatever. And one day I was at work and my lunch break came across and I had something else I needed to do. So I didn't have a chance to go to get my own food. And everything was cool. I asked him, I said, hey, would you mind, because he was off that day. He did not live far from my job. I said, hey, would you mind bringing me some lunch? Because I'm not able to leave today on my actual lunch break, so I won't have a chance, and I didn't bring any food. And he told me no. He said, why can't you go get your own food? I mean, this, that, and the third. And when I tell you confusion, I was confused.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. And I mean, we had been on dates. We had not done anything, like that, or whatever yet. Maybe that's why. Maybe he felt like, I even told him.
That's it right there. He was
tired, man.
I even told him, I even told him like, I'll cash app you the money or whatever, or I'll pay you back when you bring it. I even told, because I was like, I'll order it through the app. You'll just go pick it up for me. I was giving him, and he was just like, no. And I mean, we was cool. We hadn't had no like disagreement or anything like that. He just woke up that day and chose violence. I don't know what it was, but that man told me no, and that was it for me. Because I'm just like, I would have done that for him. You know what I'm saying? If I was off that day and he was at work and couldn't get any lunch or whatever, I would have taken him some food. I didn't understand that. So you have people that are like that, like, to me, in the relationship. So I feel like women, we have to be mindful too. But I mean, I don't mind paying for stuff, you know what I'm saying? I also don't mind going on dates that don't cost anything, you know what I'm saying? Like coffee or not much, the park, whatever.
They
So
saying that now. They saying that now, but you let him take you about 2 or 3 coffee dates. You could be like, man, he gonna have to take me somewhere to get me a steak come soon. You know how it goes.
I love me some coffee and some ice cream. Okay.
Okay. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, it is. It is kind of tricky. Because I once dated a guy, and after a week of dating, he pretty much came to me with like an itemized list of what he had done during that week. So it kind of was shocking to me. But I was like, I don't know if he was insinuating that I was just trying to use him for his money, because he didn't do much. Because I wanted to say at the time, all the stuff he named, I probably at the time was paying more for my nails than what he had spent. But he looked at it otherwise. So I mean, it just depends. And like Coco said, there are days that don't require money. So I mean, you can start with something small, like if it's just coffee. I love coffee. So coffee, and maybe like going to the park or something like that. That costs nothing if you just want to talk and get to know the person. And if she's like pissed that that's all you're doing, then hey, maybe you need to reevaluate.
That's all you need to know. If she's mad about going to the park and going to get coffee or going to get ice cream and stuff like that at first, then to me, that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Most people are okay with that or whatever. Now, I ain't saying do that and y'all 6 months in and you ain't never took this girl to get her no food.
Hold on now. What's she gonna be doing this first 6 months?
Again, also that as well. You know what I'm saying? And she don't ever, and I don't know, I think some women too are old fashioned, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got our parents in our ear. So it just,
your mama would get down for your dad, so I don't need to talk about something old.
Yeah, but my mama wasn't paying for no dates, baby. They don't that older generation, they don't, that's not how they roll.
You see why them old men had about 4 or 5, I ain't finna go into that. You don't want to give it to him, I'm gonna go see Ursula down the street. She gonna give me some of that.
Not Ursula.
Ursula. She always treat me right. I ain't gotta get her nothing but a sandwich. Okay. That's okay. It's a little mustard on the side, mayo. Let me keep going, man. Anyway, so today I'm going to be talking about Curtis Jackson and his son Marcus, man. They just been going through it lately. And it's just sad, but I didn't want to get too much into what's going on between them, because I wanted to make a point. But what I understand, Marcus feels like Curtis, and of course people should know who I'm talking about. It's 50 Cent and his son. So his son feels like he didn't spend enough time with him. And I guess he was trying to just drop a bag and keep going. And from the records that I saw, 50 was paying about $25,000 a month. But eventually that was dropped to $6,000 a month. And his son came out, and this is kind of like when I started picking up the story, it was talking about, $6,700 is not enough to live in New York, and you never gave me any time. And, I just thought it was like crazy, because I'm like, a lot of us don't even see our father. We don't have too much to do with him. And $6,700, some of us don't get $67, 67 cents from our father. So I think that it's just interesting, though, because we do need our fathers for a lot of different things, and especially for guidance, especially as a young man. But I mean, I do feel like he should be grateful, even though maybe it didn't turn out the way that he wanted to go. Because I think that at the end of the day, they should be able to find some sort of middle ground. And sometimes I wonder if the mother had something to do with it. You know what I mean? Like if the mother was like, your dad wasn't this, or your dad wasn't that. And apparently he doesn't seem to have too much respect for her or a lot of different women that he deals with. So it could be him too. But I guess I don't want to get too much into that, but I just wanted to say I want to bring awareness to being for young men to have better relationships with their dad. I mean, and just try to have that because regardless of whether what they did or not, you still need them. So I wanted to ask y'all if y'all have been looking at that situation. Do you feel like his son is a little entitled?
That's kind of what that for me, that's kind of what I felt, the entitlement. Because when you say, okay, well, 6,700 isn't enough for New York, and I get New York is an expensive state. However, like that, like your like what was your mom contributing? Was she, like she has a role in a financial matter as well. So it was just kind of, especially when you have people that dad not doing anything, it's kind of like, oh, well, you can't do anything with $6,700. I'm sure a lot of people can do a whole lot with it, if you getting that a month. So
Yeah, I know that's right.
yeah. So it was just kind of the entitlement thing for me that kind of, like I said, I'm sure it comes from her as well. And I do feel that the mom probably plays a factor also, because I know how it can be when you're, bitter or mad or, whatever the case may be. Like I said, I don't know her. I don't know how her feelings are towards 50 Cent, but yeah, I felt the entitlement when I heard the story.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I would say that her relationship with him is probably not the best. I mean, it's 50 Cent. He's a little bit like a troll. And I don't know, it almost seems like his son is kind of like him as well, like a chip off the old block, because some of the stuff he's been saying is like, at first it seemed like he just wants a relationship with his dad, but then it kind of seemed like he had that petty spirit in him like his father does. So I don't know, it probably does have a lot to do with, the mom and her and 50 Cent not having a good relationship or whatever, 50 Cent being who he is and how he is. And then now you seem to have a son as well who might have been hearing some things about you. And also though, why was the money dropped? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, in my mind, it would have been dropped because of some court decision, maybe. So
Yeah,
I mean,
it was court.
yeah.
Court
So I mean, the courts deemed it to be where, you was okay with it for whatever reason. I don't know if that's because of what the mom was contributing, I would assume. So I mean, you can't necessarily be mad at that or whatever. But at the end of the day, no matter how much money you contribute, time is needed or whatever. And maybe, and I don't know everything. So, but if 50 wasn't trying to put the time in because he was putting the money in, then I can understand why his son might feel the way that he feels. Because no amount of money is going to replace you, as a father in your son's life or in your child's life. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, how old is the son now?
He's 26 now.
I think it's a little entitled because, I mean, when you 25, 20, when you get in your 20s, they're not really, parents not really entitled to give you any money. They're gonna keep it a whole buck with you. I mean, it would be nice, but you can't be sitting here, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I try to be, independent. I'm just not gonna be asking, people for money. I don't care if it's just like my parents or whatever. That's just my mentality. I just feel like when you get to that age, you're a grown man. You shouldn't be tripping about your dad basically not giving you allowance. That kind of what it comes across as.
I think it's deeper for him though. I mean, because this probably stems from years and years, of because 50 was on the come up when he was born. So, ain't no telling what kind of stuff was going on, him trying to get himself together. And I could kind of see where he may feel like he missed out on a lot of things, with his father, because now that he's where he is, maybe he's spending more time with the other kids, he has other children. So maybe that's part of it too. But I hope that those two can kind of come to some kind of agreement at some point, because I think that's setting a bad example for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, kind of in line with that same topic, I wanted to talk a little bit about co-parenting and just, I guess, maybe some different sides of it, I guess you could say. So first of all, co-parenting, everybody I think should know pretty much what that is. But basically that's when two adults take the time to, raise their child and care for their child socially, mentally, physically, and everything together, but they're not in a romantic relationship. Usually co-parenting is involving the parents not residing in the same house either. But that kind of goes back to what I was talking about as far as the ways in which you might see it differently these days. So, and this according to what is this, fatherhood.gov, approximately 50% of American children will see their parents divorce or separate, which is unfortunate. And 16% of children live in a home with a step parent, step sibling, or half sibling. So there's a lot of co-parenting going on these days in different ways. So recently it was a clip that I saw, and I think it was a TikTok or a reel or something like that. But basically, this lady, young lady or whatever, she has a child with a man, and it went viral because she made a post. Basically, she took a picture of her child's shoes. It was like some Paw Patrol shoes or whatever. And she took a picture of them, and basically she was upset because her child's father brought him back in these shoes. Now she claims that she buys her child, name brand is what she said, and whatever else, whatever. And she sends him over to his father's house with these clothes and these shoes. And she claims that whenever her child comes back, he always comes back in quote unquote cheap clothes, like the Paw Patrol shoes or whatever. But she ended it by stating, overall, my son enjoyed his time today with his dad. That's literally the last sentence or whatever. So, which is to me the most important, that he enjoyed his time with his father, not so much about what the father buys him. Now, I will say I do understand her issue with the baby not coming back with the clothes you send over there, because why not? Like, are they being washed to be returned later? But as far as the whole, to me, she seemed kind of like she was boasting or trying to be boastful about sending the baby over in name brand clothes or whatever. So I thought that was interesting. So I'd like for y'all to touch on that in just a second. But then on the opposite kind of end of the co-parenting spectrum, I thought this was interesting as well. I saw a TikTok, and it was these two women, and they basically they said that they were 2 out of 5 baby mamas. So their baby's father that they share has 5 baby mamas, and these two women, though, they get along, I guess, or whatever, and they are choosing to live together. They got a place, renting a place out or whatever, and they chose to move in together to raise their children together and co-parent them together without their children's father. And I imagine maybe he's not the best. I don't know, just guessing, but they chose to do it kind of on their own. So the children still have kind of like 2 parents in a sense, but they don't have the father. So I wanted to get y'all's thoughts because, like I said, it's a different I guess outlook on co-parenting. We really, we usually look at it just between a man and a woman, obviously, but this is kind of 2 different spectrums or whatever. So what do y'all think?
Sound like they still picked the better baby father. That's what it sounds like.
Well, yeah.
Hey man, you do what you got to do. It takes a village to raise a kid anyway. So, but I mean, that's just an example of you just, you got to be careful of, at the end of the day, things happen. Not every child is planned, but you got to be careful of who you deal with. And you got to really think, okay, if that does happen, or if we do, if we're not together anymore, or if anything anything can happen. Do I feel comfortable, even if I'm not in a relationship with them, do I feel comfortable with them having my child? And you got to think about that before you just, have kids, people. And in that example, if he's got, you said 5 kids already?
Yeah, I assume it might be more than that, but 5 baby mamas is what it is.
Oh, 5 baby mamas. So if you see that he's got this going on with the other baby mamas, then why would you even get involved with him to begin with? That's when you gotta use your common sense. I mean, 1 baby mama, that's one thing. 5 baby mamas, bro, that's probably it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and touch on what you said too. I just think it's about being responsible, and I guess that's why want to start understanding the type of people that you get with, and not just understanding them, because you could be with a person that's messed up in the mind. And I mean, I guess that's so subjective because I mean, who would be able to tell you that other than going to see therapy, going to see a therapist? I'm sorry. And yeah, so I would just go ahead and say that I think people should spend more time understanding themselves and then realizing, hey, if you got some kind of problem or you got some type of issue, you need to fix yourself. Even if you don't think you have one, maybe you should go and get assessed. So that way you can kind of maybe learn some things about yourself before you get involved with someone else, because nobody wants to deal with your problems. If you have problems, you need to fix them or at least try to minimize them. So that way when you get with someone, you won't be bringing them a lot of stuff to deal with. Rather, you be bringing them the minimum that they could work with you on.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It starts with you first, and then when picking a mate, be mindful of, how does this person take care of themselves? What kind of life they have. Look at all that stuff before you start, making children with them. And then when they don't turn out to be this ideal father, you're upset and pissed off with them. But they may have given you those signs prior to the relationship, especially in a case when somebody has like, multiple baby mamas or baby fathers. That's some things you need to pay attention to.
Yep, absolutely. I think everybody has some valid points right here. Well, again, thank y'all so much for giving us the time today to just hear what we have to say. And we do want to hear what you have to say. So if you have anything that's on your mind, questions or comments, just leave them in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. If not, you can always hit us up. Our social media links will be in the notes or somewhere in the description around this video or recording. So thank y'all again for giving us the time of the day. I'm joined by Illuminated Lenses, Coco Love, A Journey to Be Great, and I am Swavor. This is Opinionated Facts Media Group Podcast. Until next time, peace.